Hello, thank you for stopping by. My name is Becky and this is Bex Reads, and today is going to be a adventure slash reading update. It's not quite a reading vlog because I've already finished reading the 3 books that I read. I just didn't ever get around to giving updates on it. A couple weeks ago, my sister and I went to Sleepy Hollow, New York. It's about maybe a 2-hour train ride from us. It takes us about an hour to get from Jersey to New York City, and then another hour to get from New York City to Sleepy Hollow. So I had never been to Sleepy Hollow, so we usually go to Salem in the fall because we love Salem, but unfortunately it was just too expensive for us to go to Salem this year, and I've never been to Sleepy Hollow, so I was like, how about we go to Sleepy Hollow instead, just make a day trip of it. So I'm going to throw in some vlog footage, condensing a 9-hour day in Sleepy Hollow to about 2 minutes. And then I'll be back to share with you the 3 Sleepy Hollow books that I read before I went to Sleepy Hollow. So enjoy this footage.
I never wanted someone to disappear, to just get out of here. I never wanted someone to take control. I let you take control. I let you in too close, so baby just go ghost.
I'm just kidding.
Becky! Let's be cute. I mean, Becky!
I let you in and 4 walls. Kept our secrets hidden, eating fruit so forbidden. Kept our secrets safe, cause the temptation, it felt like pure relation. I gave you my attention, but now it's hard to mention. I don't feel a spark when you say my name. Reconnection from separate sections, cause we could meet in the middle with no sense of direction. If it's sun up to sundown, we mess around, we'll wait to evolve now. I never wanted someone to disappear, to just get out of here. I never wanted someone to take control.
We've met a couple fellow witches today. Have we not? Yes, we have. It's been a little witchy Saturday. Yeah, we were just walking along the waterfront. Check out the lighthouse. Dinner. This beautiful view.
My God, so it's fine. I'm just taking it.
Look who it is! It's Daphne!
It's me!
And her friend Monica!
What's your phone case?
Huh?
What's your phone case?
It's a little witch with a cat.
Oh, very cool.
We had a great time in Sleepy Hollow. As you saw, I met Daphne from being Daphne. She and her friends also took the train up there and met us. And that was really great. She's a sweetheart. Love her. Her friend Monica was also very sweet as well. So I'd definitely be up to hanging out with Daphne more since we do live so close together. There were a couple bookstores that I went to, but that's going to be a totally separate video. Probably coming out early November. I'm going to do a bookstore adventure vlog so you can see the layout of it and the books I picked and all that jazz. So the town itself is really cute, very fall vibes. It is a tourist town, but I don't feel like it was overly packed. Maybe the closer that you get to Halloween, it would be so. But because we went on October 12th, it wasn't overly packed. There were some activities that I was wanting to do, but the tickets were either really expensive or they were sold out, so we just did as much free stuff as we could do. What we were not expecting was for there to be so many hills to climb. When we go to Salem, it's a pretty flat walking, hiking area, and Sleepy Hollow had a lot more inclines than we were expecting. So my poor sister, who recently fractured her ankle, it was a little tough for her. She was sore and limping by the end of the day, but we made it home. But let's get to the books. I did read 3 Sleepy Hollow books because I knew I was going to go to Sleepy Hollow and I thought it'd be a good time to do it. So the first book I read was Hollowed by Jessica S. Taylor. This is a book that I picked up at a Polycon. Look at those cute stenciled edges. In this world, Sleepy Hollow is almost like a haven for magical beings. There are very few towns where witches and different magical beings can feel safe, and humans are the less populous of Sleepy Hollow in this retelling. And we are following Katrina, who has severe anxiety, and she grew up in a very mentally, physically, emotionally abusive household. Her mother is a witch, and she is like the founder of Sleepy Hollow. And Katrina has magic, but she doesn't have very strong magic, and so her mother has always made her feel bad about that. She is also hard of hearing in one of her ears, which is also something her mother does not like. So she has dealt with a lot. And every fall, somebody from Sleepy Hollow has to be sacrificed to the Dullahan, who is the Headless Horseman in this case. And he will protect them from other supernatural forces and protect the town from humans coming in and discovering their magic and all that. And this fall, her parents offer up Katrina to be sacrificed to the Dullahan. But she doesn't want to be a sacrifice. She wants to get out of Sleepy Hollow and get away from her parents. She is 20 and she's just sick and tired of living under their abuse and their thumb. But when she tries to run away and escape, she is caught by Brom, who pushes her down a hill, and potentially he thinks he's killed her. So he just tells people, oh, she sacrificed herself. But the Dullahan, who is a man named Alexander, ends up finding her and healing her. He tells her that she is actually a much more powerful witch than she has been led to believe. So he helps her train to develop her magic, and she's telling him what's been going on in Sleepy Hollow and that there's this mist, this very sinister mist that has been invading, and he tells her that this mist is actually the Slua, who are trying to take over Sleepy Hollow. So they team up, they pretend like they are a married couple, they put on disguises, and they go back to Sleepy Hollow. They try to discover what's up with these Slua and the role that her mother plays in what's happening and the destruction of Sleepy Hollow. So I absolutely loved this book. I waffled between giving it 6 stars and 5 stars. I ended up on a 5-star because it just didn't emotionally impact me the way a 6-star book would. But I liked so much about this book. There's nothing I didn't like about this book. I really liked this Sleepy Hollow reimagining because it is a reimagining. It's not a retelling. I liked the hard of hearing representation, the anxiety representation in Katrina. I loved that Alexander, the Headless Horseman, he's blonde. That is such a minor thing to love about a story. And I have a type, okay? I do. I have a type. And it's not blonde. I like the dark-haired guys. But to see a blonde love interest who isn't going to be passed up for the dark-haired love interest was so fucking great to see. I loved it. He is also the Headless Horseman, so he's seen as the bad guy, and he has this almost shadow spirit power. It's not quite Shadow Daddy power, but he can wield some magic to make himself appear headless, and he can create almost spheres of magic to protect Katrina. And I just loved his character. He is such a cinnamon roll hero. For being the Headless Horseman, he is so fucking sweet. Understands consent so well, let me tell you. I loved the fake marriage aspect that was in here. I thought they had great chemistry. I loved that this included a lot of Celtic mythology within it, which is something I wasn't expecting. I really liked the family dynamics within the story. I liked the mystery of it all. I wouldn't say it's a fantasy romance. It's more paranormal romance because it does take place in the real world. And it does lean more plot heavy than romance heavy. But I absolutely fucking loved this. Highly recommend it. I was on a high with this one. I then read The Horseman of Sleepy Hollow by Rebecca F. Kinney. This was a much shorter book, and I have read a couple Rebecca F. Kinney books in the past and have really enjoyed them, so I checked this one out. This is about, once again, Katrina, who is seen as Sleepy Hollow's tease. She has all these suitors and she just won't pick one to settle down with, and her parents really want her to find a match. So she has Ichabod and Brom, of course, vying for her affections. And there are certain things about each of them that she likes, but she sort of wants what she likes from each of them to be melded into one person. So she's at this party and Ichabod, you know, asks her to be his bride and she says no. So she runs off after him. Brom catches up with her and he's like, what? You denied him, so that must mean you want me? And she's like, no, I don't want you. And he ends up like hurting her somehow, like pushing her or hitting her or something like that. And she ends up injured. And he just leaves her in the forest. When the Headless Horseman shows up and he takes her and he nurses her back to health. And she realizes that she is attracted to this man, this Headless Horseman. And their romance ensues from there. So this was just okay. I gave this one 3 stars. It was much more smut heavy, so if you're looking for a Sleepy Hollow book that is smuttier, this is going to be the one out of the 3 that I read. It's shorter, so it's much more romance-based than plot-based. I didn't love the characters. I didn't feel the chemistry between the Horseman and Katrina. I did like that her parents treated her well as compared to the previous Sleepy Hollow book. She had really loving parents. This one also has another cinnamon roll horseman hero. He is seen as the bad guy, but he nurses her back to health. He doesn't touch her without her consent or anything like that. And he's sort of a lot more innocent than she is. Let's put it that way. This also had some Celtic mythology in it, but it wasn't as expansive as the previous book that I read. So this one, I wouldn't recommend this one. And then on the train ride up to Sleepy Hollow, I listened to the dramatized version of Sleepy Hollow. I have never actually read the original Sleepy Hollow tale. I know the gist of it because I've seen like shows and movies and I've read other books and stuff like that. So I knew the gist, Ichabod, Brom, Katrina, all that, but I just hadn't read the original tale. And this was only an hour audiobook. I put it on like 2 times speed, so it really was only like 45 minutes. So I got through it before I even got to Sleepy Hollow. And I was disappointed with this because for some reason, and I think it's because I've read retellings where the horseman is a prominent figure in those retellings, I was expecting the horseman to be a prominent figure in the original tale. And I think that's where my disappointment lied, because it took till 10 minutes before the end of this audiobook for the horseman to even make an appearance. And I'm just sitting there listening and I'm like, when the hell is this horseman gonna show up? I want to know about him, you know? And it just, it took till 10 fucking minutes till the end of this book. I did like that this was multicast narrated. It had sound effects and all that jazz. It was a pretty decent audiobook. But I couldn't help but cringe at the story because it is a classic, you know, and some of the dialogue was just so fucking cheesy. I was just like, oh my god. The way the characters spoke to one another, it was cringe as fuck. So I ended up giving this 3 stars as well, just because it was entertaining, I guess. And it wasn't the worst, like, classic thing I've ever read, but I was just let down because I was, for some reason, expecting the horseman to play a bigger role. So if you haven't ever read the original Legend of Sleepy Hollow and you're curious, I mean, I would recommend it. It's a very quick little read. If you can find the audiobook, it was a fine dramatized version of the audiobook. Hell, you could probably find like a YouTube video that explains it to you as well. But just don't expect the horseman to be a central plot point, okay? So those were the 3 books that I read in preparation to go to Sleepy Hollow and my time in Sleepy Hollow. If you've never been, I recommend going, especially if you live close to New York and you could take a train there. It's a pretty easy day trip to make. Let me know down in the comments, have you been to Sleepy Hollow? Do you ever want to go to Sleepy Hollow? Have you read any of these books? But if you don't want to comment that, but would like to let me know that you made it to the end of this video, could you leave me a pumpkin emoji? And with that, thank you so much for watching, and until my next video, go read a Sleepy Hollow themed book. Bye!